just one of those magical places where there's so many neat things to see and do. There's so much history, and the terrain is so incredibly beautiful, and the people are so nice, and the food's wonderful, and you've got all these great dirt roads, and you can go for miles and never see another person and just get to enjoy the freedom. It's like the Wild West, and you don't have that anywhere in the United States anymore, but you can still come down here and enjoy it in Baja.
The terrain for Baja is, I would say, the toughest terrain you're going to put a truck through. If you want to go test your truck, test your Raptor out, and see if it can handle it, this is the place to come.
The reason I came back was the terrain is so different and so vast. I wanted to see a different part of Baja because every time you make a corner, there's something new. And so it was very appealing for me to come back and see a different version.
The purpose that I wanted to come to Baja was to kind of push the limits to my Raptor. When you're in Baja, you're at the kind of the max of what these trucks' capabilities can do.
You know, we started off as a bunch of strangers, but we quickly became, pretty good friends in just 1 week. So I'm definitely looking forward to making some memories, and I'll definitely remember this, trip for the rest of my life.
The Baja Raptor Run is a trip we started back in 2013. Basically a point-to-point tour of the Baja Peninsula. We take about 10 Raptors, I think in this case 12, down the Baja Peninsula, stay in a different town every night, do as many dirt roads as we possibly can, do our best to enjoy the culture of Baja and the people and see the incredible sights of Baja, California. My name is Trey Palrero. I'm the owner of the Texas Raptor Run, and we put on the Baja Raptor Run that we're on right now.
So day one, we crossed the Tecate border. Being the first time in Baja, we had no idea what to experience. But just the feeling of seeing the Bienvenido a Mexico, that sign, it's amazing. Kind of gave me goosebumps as soon as we crossed the border there.
We had originally planned to head south along Compadre Trail to Ojos Negros. That changed because of the huge amount of rain that we had the week before that. Compadre Trail would have been passable, but it wouldn't have been enjoyable for the customers. So we decided to alternate that, change it. We went down Highway 2, down La Rumorosa, past Laguna Salada, and then went down to San Felipe via Highway 5.
As soon as we started driving through the country, the land is beautiful, it's gorgeous. That alone, we haven't even hit the dirt yet, we're still on the pavement, but the country is so beautiful, and it made the experience already at that moment worthwhile.
One of the things that happened to come together on this trip was the Chenoweth Museum out towards Pursaboo. Pretty famous Baja racer, Johnny Johnson, opened up the museum for us. We got to see pretty awesome history, aside from a really cool building.
Lynn Chenoweth, the owner of the place, was gracious enough to open his doors and let us view various race vehicles that he had there. And the tour was guided by Johnny Johnson, who is a multi-time winner of many Baja races, including the Baja 1000, Baja 500, who gave us his history and knowledge of racing in Baja to all our customers.
It's remote control. It's a little man right there. Lynn Chenoweth had built several thousand off-road frames, military frames, and he started his own museum. It's all his old race cars from the 70s, 80s into the 90s.
There's all different types of off-road buggies. They're from different eras of racing. Mark Noggle was able to talk us through the different suspension changes, motor changes, and how these guys developed these machines and improved them as they were, through the years, as they were continuing to race. It was an awesome experience.
This museum is right off the coast of the Sea of Cortez, so not only was it a very interesting and very enthusiastic visit, but we also got to see a little bit of the nice scenery that Baja has to offer.
I am so excited to be here in Baja California again for the Dos Mares run. It's a bunch of raptors. As we know, we're having a good time, and the day is beautiful in San Felipe. I'm very excited to have a bunch of new folks. They're very excited to be here. Most of them have Gen 2 vehicles. It's an experience that they'll never forget, and I think some of the guys that have been here before will help them on their trip.
One of the things this year that's different, we usually have a lot of repeat customers. Well, this year we've got about half the group that's brand new, and it's neat to bring new people down here because they experiencing it for the first time. And I know how excited I was the first time I came to Baja, and still am, but for people to get to do it the first time and be a part of that, it's a really special thing.
Everything new is always unexpected, and you're a little bit nervous about it. We have the regulars like Art and Wendy who come every time. They're really good about going out of their way and taking the new people under their wing and showing them the things they need to understand and need to know. That's one of the great things about Baja Raptor runs, is that we don't know what's going to happen around the next corner. And that's why it's an adventure. You're 9 to 5, you know what's going to happen when you go to work. You don't know what happens when you go to Baja.
The landscape that I find fascinating here is, Baja is kind of a desert. You have the Sea of Cortez, it's just this turquoise blue and dark blues all kind of mixed. It's just beautiful. And then you have this mountain range here on the horizon that's majestic all by itself. And just the plants, you don't see plants like this in the States. It's almost like something out of a Dr. Seuss book. And then you drive around in another part, and then it's almost like it's lunar. It's like you're almost on the moon. All these rocks and big rocks and craters and sparse with a little bit of vegetation. It's just quite amazing.
So on day 2, the trucks finally hit dirt. I am not accustomed to these tracks at all. There were a lot of whoops. You really can't get a good rhythm with your truck to go over these, so you have to gradually become accustomed to them and learn how the truck is going to maneuver in that type of terrain, so you can't just go full speed through it.
A lot of the first time guys down, felt pretty comfortable, but it really is the first time, if it's the first time you've ever been off-road in your truck. You hear some squeaks, you hear some noises, you hear some sounds you're not used to hearing, so everybody takes it pretty easy on that first day of dirt.
Day 2 was really the day we did some serious off-roading. We drove down to a canyon. A lot of the roads or the trails were actually underwater at one point. So we got to see a lot of the formations, natural springs, and we had a great time. We stopped for lunch in the canyon. So that was actually a very neat experience.
Never really seen something like that. Hung out there for a while. Beautiful landscape, good trails. Some was rocky and a little bit slower. I had a great time running through there, Bob Canyon.
Came back onto Baja 1000 race course and took that into El Crucero, and then followed the race course again down onto the Bay of LA highway that took us down into Bahia de Los Angeles, which is on the Sea of Cortez again. Beautiful, beautiful bay, fishing village, a favorite spot of ours.
Section of dirt we're doing today, which basically we're doing almost all dirt. It's a really fast road, but it's skatey and there's lots of corners, and if you're going too fast and you overdrive the corner, it's not like it's just going to be like a run out where you hit an agave plant or whatever. it's gonna be like a cliff. It's a really fun, really pretty road. It's my favorite day out of the whole trip. We're gonna have a lot of fun, but everyone just needs to be really careful.
Last thing I think you want to do is you shouldn't be seeing the backs of any other trucks. I mean, you space it out, that's where you're gonna have the most fun. Get used to your widths. You saw a lot of tailgates yesterday, so it gave you an idea of what the terrain's like.
I remember this day from last year, and we talked about in the morning meeting, this is some of the best trail we'll run. It's fast trail, very fast. So of course, keep our wits and be smart about us. But I remember this from last year. That is an absolute blast.
So something interesting that's down here, I don't know what you'd call them. They call them vados. And what it is just a concrete that prevents erosion. So when you're coming up at high speed in these trails, so you don't know what to expect because the truck all of a sudden goes from a loose terrain to concrete. So that was pretty interesting. It took a little while to get used to it, but you know, after a few and some scares, we got the hang of it.
We were coming up on that thing so fast, and I just brake checked a little bit, and we hit that thing and we flew. I was just hanging on. Got a great jump, landed perfectly, it was excellent, and hitting about maybe 70 miles an hour. Probably of any little event that happened in this trip, that was the most fun right there.
Going 70, out of nowhere the throttle will just pop up, and you kind of have to brace yourself and kind of hit it, and who knows what's going to happen afterwards, but it's a lot of fun.
Some of the guys got pretty sporty on them, and it looks like they got some pretty big air. And, you know, it's a fun experience, and it's a pretty safe way to jump your Raptor and have a good time doing it.
Today we started out of Bahia de Los Angeles, and we hit the part of the Baja 1000 course. This was something we don't see back in Texas, so it was pretty amazing to be able to drive that type of terrain. And now we're sitting here having lunch at this beautiful beach, so can't ask for a more perfect day.
Everybody's pretty friendly, you know, we all have the same interest and have a good time. We all like to have a good time for sure.
Stopped and had a look at our Locos Mocos Memorial, which is just a memorial to kind of mark the passing of several friends that have been with our group for a long time, and it's just something that some of us belong to as kind of a pit club for the Baja 1000.
In 1997, myself, my roommate, and a couple other guys were asked to help Ivan Stewart chase the Baja 1000. He broke before he got to us, and that was early afternoon, so we decided we had all these tools and equipment, so let's go do something else with it rather than just watching the race. Came up with a plan. Since we're going to the races anyway, why don't we just set up a mercy pit for everybody, find a remote location someplace on the peninsula, and we did this for about 20 years. During this time, we lost a couple of our people, Farm Boy being the first, and then a couple months later, Rocket's brother Bubbles passed away. And so we decided at that point that we needed to make a memorial. Rocket, who was a machinist for NASA, cut this piece of steel. We came out here and stamped out the nameplates and put them on for those that had passed, and added a couple along the way.
I didn't know the history of it or the kind of purpose why it was there, but after hearing the story, for the guys that have passed, it kind of was a sentimental thing. And it's really a gracious monument for those people that have passed. I think that's a great monument to have in that certain spot.
We start out this trip with several staff members and a lot of customers. By the time the trip is over, we've all become friends because Baja presents challenges to us along the way that we join in together to conquer. Whether it's a stuck truck or a broken truck or a flat tire or weather issues that change our route that require us to put our heads together and come up with a solution that works for everybody, builds a team spirit that helps everybody work together and challenges us personally whether it's in teamwork or spirit of making sure that we have a positive attitude. You know, if something has a problem, it's not the end of the trip, it's just a part of the trip.
One neat thing about these trips is it starts as a group of people that may know each other, and then you get down here and everyone gets to know each other better. And you know, this is very much a team thing. Like you're just driving on roads, but things happen, things go wrong, and it takes other people to step up and be leaders and join the team. And by the end of it, it's a very functional team and family of people that got to share this experience together.
You always have to drive within yourself. You cannot exceed your limits. Baja can bite you. Let's put it that way.
We're down, we crashed. We're okay, vehicle's down. Texican's one. What's the Texican? This truck's, it's on the right side, it's just on the side of the road.
So we had a little bit of an incident on one of the days. One of the trucks got damaged. Everything bad creates a learning lesson. It makes you grow as a driver, even if you're not involved. It helps you kind of understand the dangers in Baja, what can happen. Destroying your truck is not a good idea in Baja, especially because it's so hard to get access to where some of the trails that we take. So you always have to be careful so you don't run out of talent.
It's one of those experiences that you'll enjoy. It's a story that you will tell later on in life, and you take that back with you. Tragedy often becomes comedy, and if it doesn't, you're in real trouble. We try to avoid the real trouble part.
Outtakes are gonna be way better than
intakes.
There we go. Yeah, let's go to dinner tonight.
Don't say I didn't get anything for your birthday.
Criminal defense, perfect. Not. We don't do civil cases, right? Okay.
These guys are like a community, like a family. They really want to help us out. They want us to share the experience they have. They want to share the feelings and emotions that they experience out here. You don't know, a lot of these trails, it's kind of, you're going into them blind. So yeah, it's good to have a scout in the very beginning and then to relay all the information back to each other.
Oncoming.
Copy, oncoming.
Serpo to Trey, we're mid-group. We got a couple trucks behind us, but we're motoring.
And then over the course of the next week, we go through helping each other out with tools, or I need help, finding my way here, or getting directions to this, or I break something on my truck and let me help you do that, and you help me do this, and you really kind of build a family out of a group of friends.
We're in beautiful El Arco, Baja. It is somewhere south of BMLA. It's been an interesting day. We've had to work on some trucks, as you can see right now. We've got about 20 more miles of dirt and about 50 miles of pavement to our destination. 30 minutes until the sun goes down. So good day, no night driving.
So I think, aside from the amazing journey of driving these trucks and seeing the scenery, I think our favorite part has been just meeting all the local people. Everyone's been so nice, and they're willing to lend a hand, no questions asked. I mean, I've never met a group of more friendlier strangers than the people of Baja California.
Baja is such a fascinating place because of so many different variables, whether it's the great food or the great people or the history of Baja that goes back several hundred years from the Indios to the Spanish conquistadors and the Spanish missionaries who've set up communities and missions along the way. The geology and the geography, it's such a place that you can get away from what goes on in the rest of the world, and it just makes the entire experience special.
Day 4, because of more rain and some washouts on the road between San Ignacio and San Juanico, we ended up taking the highway around. So we left San Ignacio, we stopped in Santa Rosalia and went to the Eiffel Church, which is a church that was brought in, that was built or designed by Eiffel, who built the Eiffel Tower.
The reason why the area seems so unique with the wood structure is the copper would come from the mine and it would go up to Tacoma, Washington. And when they would unload there, they wouldn't come back empty. They'd come back with lumber and supplies from America. And the only place in all of Baja that will have cut lumber and look like an American town.
We are in Santa Rosalia, and this is the oldest continually operating bakery in the Americas. So I was told these ovens have been out of operation since the late 1800s, early 1900s, and this is just another stop along the way, kind of checking out the history of Baja.
This is the breakfast of champions.
Good spicy taco. Nothing's better than tacos in a mission with my friend Ryan.
That's right.
Chris Isaacson, he's become a really good friend because of these events. He's a mess. He's a great guy. I'll tell you he's the fastest guy in the dirt, but I'm not sure that's true.
Christian likes to announce at almost every opportunity that he's the fastest driver on the trip.
Fastest driver in Baja.
I'm the fastest driver under 50 in Baja.
We've timed it, we've proven it with trackers. Art and I are the two fastest drivers in Baja. Baja Sauce, #1 in Baja for the fastest drivers.
Always be the fastest, always been the fastest, I'll continue to be the fastest.
I speed, have no idea if there's, nobody's keeping times or anything like that, but I think the equipment may have something to do with how fast he thinks he's going.
He keeps everybody's spirits up. He's always got a positive attitude, and he makes cracks jokes and makes sure that everybody feels included. What are those? He may make fun of you, but it's all in good spirit and all in good fun.
All right, hit it.
Trip in Baja, baby. Oh, I stuck my feet in the mud again. God damn it.
From Mulahey, we went to Playa Requesón, which is an incredible beach. It's this little outcropping of sand that sort of juts out. There's water on both sides, and it's really beautiful. So we spent a few hours there before we headed into Loreto.
We pull up to the actual beach where we go to hang out, and it's white sands, clear water and blue, and of course the mountains around, the hills around. It just make for a perfect place to hang out. So we went down there and we hung out and parked on the beach and had some drinks, and one of the guys was fishing, out there fishing, see if he could catch some fish. Great experience. We got to spend a couple hours there just enjoying the weather and the view and all that. It was a good time.
Guys, explain to us what you've been doing for the past 48 hours.
We had a situation where one of the Raptors didn't make one of the turns and had some undercarriage damage that prevented it from moving further. So we had to move back into Bay of LA and then necessitate a rescue to remove that vehicle from the desert with some local help. So we're having dinner at Bay of LA, and as we're eating dinner, a guy just walks up out of the night and says, "Hi, I'm Luis, they call me El Oso. I'm looking for Marco," which is me. And like magic, here is our savior that's going to take care of our problem and help out for us. We say, okay, we make our arrangements, and we turn around, and all of a sudden he's gone. And then our phones light up and say, okay, we've got El Oso coming to find you to make arrangements. Wow, we've already seen him. Faster than the internet. We don't know what to expect.
Although his confidence the night before sounded like he had a roll-off. He's like, I got the truck. I've got the equipment to get
I've got
out
a
there.
winch.
I do this all the time, no problem at all.
Without even blinking an eye, they start to work on getting this truck onto the trailer. The left front tire is pushed back into the cab so it doesn't steer, it barely rolls, you can't drive it. You have to put it in neutral to make the thing move. We'd come up with some ideas on the way back in the 4 hours it took to go that 60 miles. How we're gonna get the truck from one trailer to the next. And we said, do you have a smaller tire we can put on the front so it'll roll and not run into the firewall? And he says, no, I'm gonna use a forklift to put it from one trailer to the next. We thought he was gonna pick the truck up from one trailer and put it to the other. That's not how it went. Backed the two trailers together so that you could put Trey's trailer underneath the back end of the Raptor, and then they were gonna lift up the front end and roll it onto Trey's trailer. What actually happened was that they lifted it up. The front end of the Raptor was dangling up in the air on this forklift with the fork bent down at an angle like this. And everybody's helping. Put on the brakes. No, let loose of the brakes. Go this way. No, go that way. And it all comes down to the main rule is that in an operation this size, you gotta expect some losses. It could have gone a lot worse.
It was the best possible scenario.
Absolutely. There's so many things that could have gone way worse the entire day. And it was the best day for me and Robert on this trip so far.
So far.
Yeah, we learned a lot.
It's rest day. Basically just a day for everyone to do that. Rest and relax, hang out. There's no schedule, there's no itinerary. Some people went fishing this morning, a few other people went on a catamaran cruise.
So on day 5, our rest day in Loreto, we chartered a catamaran and we went snorkeling out to the little islands.
Welcome aboard of New Didi. It's going to be a boat that in the next 4 hours we're having a snorkeling trip, and we might see some wildlife, so hope you enjoy this tour.
I saw 6 different kinds of starfish that were really, really big. I mean, there's some starfish that were that big. It was crazy to see. And there's other fish, but the thing I take most back from that was the starfish and just driving on the water with the sun behind you. It's really a warm day.
Take a snorkeling trip out of Loreto today. Went to 2 different places. Had an awesome time. Got to see a lot of marine life. The boat captain was awesome. Gave us lots of margaritas, had lunch out here. Just a beautiful day on the water. Can't complain at all.
Very first time here. I've done some off-roading and stuff a little bit with Dan here and there, but nothing like what we just went through in these Raptors. Beautiful to be out here. Great day to be on a boat. Very excited.
Beautiful day out here in Baja. We had a great time snorkeling. Got to see a lot of fish, a lot of cool coral and other stuff underwater. And can't complain. No bad days in Baja.
As so often happens, plans change a little bit, weather dictates. You have to kind of learn that you're not really in control of everything. You have to start with a plan, but you have to be able to change that plan and go from there. So some of the guys that haven't been before are, are we going to miss off-road? Are we going to miss something? But I think as many times as you have to change the trail or the route, you never miss anything. You only get to see something different. Nothing really ruins your trip. It just changes your trip.
So we're here at the beautiful mission in San Javier. This mission was built in 1699. It's raining because it always rains when I do events, and somehow it seems to have followed me to Baja. But it was a really pretty drive up the highway with the clouds and the rain in the mountains, and we're still having a good time making the best of it, although it is definitely a wet Baja Raptor Run.
We went to the San Javier mission, and that was very cool to see. Me being Catholic, it kind of brings joy and happiness actually going into the mission and seeing how the founders of this land were able to build that mission a long time ago. So actually seeing the mission still up and people still paying their respects, and seeing this team, this group of people go and show their respects to it, was amazing.
Very touching, to go into this mission in the middle of nowhere and just realize, that a lot of how this place became settled was because of these missions. So it was, very nice little town up in the mountains, fog, clouds. So it was rainy, but it was very interesting. It was very, very beautiful scenery. And going into the mission, really reminds us that, civilization has been here for a lot longer than we ever imagined.
It was a rainy day, which I'd not seen in Baja. So it was a little bit unusual, I think, the weather, but we went ahead and started our run, and it was a wet, muddy day. The trails, we had to be careful on the trails because they would get a little slick. We had to slow it down a little bit, make sure we weren't sliding off the roads, and be a little more cautious, and we were climbing up some steep hills at times. And so it was okay. It was a good run. It was fun. It was different. It was a different experience.
Brake lights over the rise of K65, little left hand, down hand. The horse in the road, horses in the road.
At the line, right or left? Right at the line. Copy.
That's kind of a new experience for me to actually be driving in this wet dirt, wet sand. Not knowing how the truck is going to maneuver was quite a bit of a challenge. It was cool to adapt and to figure the truck out, to feel it, to know the response of it. So it was a really cool experience. It was challenging, but it was fun.
After the mission, we hit road again, where the highway that runs through the mountains is all dirt. Add rain to it, it really became a very challenging drive. It was really a pretty drive, even with the rain, just to be in the middle of the mountains, with trees all around you, rocks going through dry riverbeds. It was a sight to see. It was something that in my wildest imagination would I have imagined something like this was out there, and much less that I would actually be driving in it.
So the trip takes a tremendous amount of planning. We've got to book 9 hotels, plan out a route, make GPS files, meal arrangements and lunch arrangements. It takes a tremendous amount of time. I typically start planning the event as soon as we leave. You see things that, oh man, next year let's do that. Let's find this way to make it better. You take those things, you make notes, and you start planning for next year.
When we signed up, we really, were curious how you could pull a trip like this off. But Trey and his staff have been amazing, and how organized they are, with this trip just baffles me. I mean, it's been so seamless from the time we got into the country, doing the runs, going through the trails, the hotels, the meals. To me, it's just walk in the park, and I know that it takes a lot of work to feel that way.
The logistics and running the trails, scouting trails, knowing where to take us, it's a lot of work that goes into this. I would never come down here and run this trip alone. You really need some experts, and they are experts, and they put together a great group, a great experience, and they have a great staff, excellent people, knowledgeable, make sure that we get through here safe and have a great time as well.
Trey, he does an amazing job. He organizes the best people. He has mechanics. He has people who have tremendous experience in the Baja, the roads, where to go, where not to go, things to do. So it's so well organized that you never feel you're alone. You never feel you're in danger. You never feel you're an outcast.
It's really kind of the most important thing is the safety portion of it. But everybody he puts together on the team, they're all high quality, and you could turn to any one of them, and everyone will help you at any moment.
Fantastic, great trails, everybody made it through, nothing breaking. These trucks are amazing out here. This place really provides great terrain for the trucks to be tested, and everybody to build some camaraderie amongst each other if they need help with anything.
Busy as it is nowadays, in America and the corporate America world, we don't have a lot of time to do things together, and this is a perfect opportunity for us to hang out and spend some quality time together and do things normally we'd never do something like this.
When I'm back home and at work, you know, you have a tough Monday or something, or you have a tough meeting, and you think of like the things that you overcame on this trip. You have problems at work that are sometimes seem so minuscule compared to some of the things that you overcame down here.
Would I recommend this event? Definitely. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I would definitely recommend this to my friends that are avid truck drivers that want to or test their truck to the limits. Yes, definitely. I would definitely recommend this to someone.
If you're an adventurist and have ever wanted to do something different, this is definitely a bucket list kind of different, where you're running a truck that was made for this area at a safe but very adrenaline-driven drive. This trip is for you.
If you own a Raptor and you really want to see what these trucks can do, this is a no-brainer. I mean, you have to do this event. I mean, there's nothing else in the world that will test these trucks, and the experience that we've done so far has been more than amazing. Something that I would have never imagined in my life I would do. I came here with zero expectations. My mind's been blown. Come next year, 2021, as soon as registration opens, don't hesitate. Sign up, because this is a trip of a lifetime.